Hey everyone, RogueGold here. Welcome back to the Division 2. We just got a ton of new information. The Year 7 Season 1 PTS, which is going to launch the same day as the Battle for Brooklyn DLC next month on May 27th. The PTS, or public test server for that update, goes live tomorrow on April 25th. Not only do we just get the patch notes, which include some insane new items they're adding, a ton of stuff that is basically reused or reformatted from the Division 1, but they're doing a live stream tomorrow as well to dive into all of the new features of the PTS. So my brain is breaking from the number of things I need to talk about and do videos on now, but let's get right into the information, as like I said, there's a lot to go over. So as you can see right here, the devs just posted the Year 7 Season 1 PTS preload is live right now. It runs from tomorrow, April 25th until the 28th. For those following times. And then additionally, join us for a PTS Twitch stream as we check out the new features of Year 7 Season 1. The stream is going to be at 6 a.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Central European. I can't even begin to think about how I'm going to cover this all. We might do a PTS, we might do a live stream watching their live stream. I might do a live stream of the PTS itself. I don't even know. Check the community tab for more details later today, but for now, let's dive right into the patch notes because like I said, there is some stuff in here that people are going to love, I think. So to begin, we have the new global modifier for next season. It is called Hardcore, and it centers around bringing new build-focused bonuses for yourself and your allies that grow based on your gear cores and increase even further upon defeating enemies marked with hostile countermeasures. So players can gain 3 attribute scores: firearms, stamina, and electronics, Division 1, anybody, and bonuses scaling with the current attribute tier. So again, this is going to be a lot of numbers to break down, but just stick with me here. For firearms, it grants X% critical hit chance that bypasses the cap. You can get more than 60% crit chance. And at the tier 5 effect, it will instantly refill all ammo, including signature weapon ammo. You then have stamina that applies Y% bonus armor every 300,000 damage you take. And at the tier 5 effect, it will instantly refill all of your armor kits. And then electronics, every time a skill is used, the cooldown of your other skill is reduced by Z% of its current value. However, shields are excluded. So almost like hardwired, built into a effect there. So again, that's just the beginning. So here's an idea of the tier and the effects based on score. Again, I believe this correlates to when you defeat enemies with certain hostile countermeasures. You'll get more of this being C, tier 1, and then the values all the way up to tier 5. And then it highlights those same extra effects that we just looked at once you get to tier 5 and get all those bonuses. Oh yeah, here it is right here. Attribute score are influenced by your gear and combat action. So each gear core, right, weapon damage, armor skill tier adds to your baseline score, and then killing marked enemies grants bonus points towards building up these various tiers. Alright, getting to active modifiers. This season introduces 5 active modifiers designed to consume your current score bonus in exchange for a powerful temporary boost. While they work best when coordinated with a team, solo players will also benefit significantly from their effect. So again, huge Division 1 influence here in the names, right? Link, just like we had our signature skills with the tack link and all that. So broken link is that on activation, you freeze all attributes at their current score and double the values of each current bonus offered by the attributes' respective tiers for a limited duration. This actually sounds very similar to tactical supremacy that we currently have in Year 6 Season 3 with Rogue Momentum. Alright, target-rich environment. On activation, 3 unmarked targets within 35 meters will each be marked with a different mark. For the next 15 seconds, your kills and assists will yield a 2 times attribute score multiplier. After the 15 seconds are up, freeze attributes at their current score, and the values of each current bonus offered by the attributes' respective tiers is multiplied by 4 for 25 seconds. Again, we're going to have to break this all down once we actually get our hands on it, but again, crazy stuff here. This is sounding a lot like the Division 1. The Assault link, on activation, the player's firearm score is set to tier 5 for the duration of the ability. All allies within 10 meters are granted a firearm score bonus when cast. The player gains 5% weapon damage for every non-red core equipped. Attributes are frozen, and bonuses are multiplied by 4 for the duration of the modifier. So again, this sounds a lot like the tack link in the Division 1, where you and allies can gain these bonuses for your weapon damage, and again, if you fill out that tier, then you get stuff like refilling all of your ammo. Security link right here, on activation, the player's stamina score is set to tier 5 for the duration of the ability. Allies within 10 meters are granted stamina score bonus when cast. The player gains 60k extra max armor for every non-blue core equipped. Attributes are frozen and multiplied by 4, the same as the last one. However, the duration is increased by 3 seconds for each ally nearby at the time of activation. So this heavily encourages you to be near your teammates when you cast it. They will get the same bonuses that you get, and yeah, a lot of good stuff there. And then finally, Tech Link, on activation, the player's electronic score is set to tier 5 for the duration of the ability. Allies within 10 meters are granted an electronic score bonus when cast. The player gains 10% skill efficiency for every non-yellow core equipped. Attributes are frozen, bonuses multiplied by 4, duration increased by 3 for each ally at the time of activation. So again, wow, a ton to already break down just with these active modifiers, but we got more, so let's keep going. This season's passive modifiers are directly tied to your current attribute tiers. As long as you meet the required tier for a specific attribute, the corresponding bonus is active. If you drop below that tier, the bonus becomes inactive. Alright, so just to look at a few of these, loaded up is that you get 25% of critical hit chances added as crit damage while at the max tier in firearms, so you need to be a tier 5. Extra padding gives you 5% protection from elites per blue core while in the max tier of stamina, but then they also have some that go per tier, so safety first gives you hazard protection increased by 7.5% for each stamina tier that you have. Interference blocker seems cool. You could theoretically get a 100% disrupt resist build because you get 60 for being at tier 5, or maybe 50 rather. Bit of a jack of all trades one here. While at least in tier 3 in both firearms and stamina, you gain 5% headshot damage for every 200k armor that you have, so a bit of a hybrid setup there. So again, lots of passive modifiers there that, as we know from these last 2 seasons, are going to heavily influence the builds, how you can set certain things up, so that's pretty cool. Then if we go down to talk about the hostile countermeasures, again, these will play big into the overall thing, because as you kill these marked hostiles, you then get certain bonuses added to your gauges for firearms, stamina, and electronics. So this season introduces hostile countermeasures, special enemy buffs represented by marks. Enemies can spawn with 1, 2, or all 3 unique marks, each providing different advantages. Marks are directly tied to the global modifier and the attribute score system, like we were just saying. So if an enemy has the firearms mark, then they will gain 10% damage and 20% movement speed. If they have the stamina mark, they will gain overheal, and their crit damage, and your crit damage is reduced by 50% on this enemy. And if they have the electronics mark, the enemy takes minus 33% damage from skills and minus 33% damage to weak points. And while their gadgets are deployed, they take negative 33% damage. And again, they can't have like 2 firearms marks, for example, but they could theoretically have a firearms, stamina, and electronics mark all at the same time. So almost an evolution of what we've seen this season with the Frenzy hostile modifier, where they have the healing and they can run around fast. Imagine if you find a boss that has all 3 of these. That would be insane. And this is the kind of stuff that I really enjoy with the modifiers, adding extra depth to the gameplay. Since we're so powerful overall, this is the kind of stuff that we need to keep things challenging and fresh. However, it's not all negative, because you do get rewards for engaging marked enemies. As we covered before, killing the marked enemy will grant score points to your attribute sliders to get some of those bonuses maxed out. Assisting with a kill, this is actually pretty big for, people who have complained about the group functionality of modifiers. Assisting with a kill of a marked enemy will grant score points relevant to the attribute. Again, same as getting the full kill itself. Skill kills will count as assists, not kills, so that is something that you need to keep in mind. You're going to get lower score if you're solely relying on your skills, and skill-based assists do not grant any score points. Okay, wow. So again, a lot of this is going to sound complex upon first hearing it, just like the prior modifiers that we've had. Once you get it in your hands, I think it will make a lot more sense. It's really all about how you've structured your build. Your core attributes get you base bonuses, and engaging with the gameplay in different ways and killing those marked enemies is what's going to get you all of these things. This sounds really fun. Much the same as Rogue Momentum. This is going to increase our power by a lot. It's all really team focused with the active modifiers. A lot of Division 1 influence there. It sounds really cool. But we are not done. That is just the modifier part. Let's now move on to gear, weapons, and talents. So much of this, just like the modifiers, is inspired by the Division 1, if not taken directly from it. So I think a lot of Division 1 players are going to be very pleased by this. So for the new exotic weapon, the Pecan from the Division 1 is returning. This is the exotic RPK-74. The talent is that each kill with this weapon grants a stack of 50% magazine size to the next magazine, up to 4 stacks. So you could see a situation where you have a 200% increased magazine size for an RPK. That would be pretty big. The mods are going to give you 5% weapon damage, 20 rounds, 5 crit chance, and 5 crit chance. So 10 crit chance total, and all those following bonuses. Moving on to the exotic gear, we first have the Nimble holster. Is the exotic holster. Anyone remember the Nimble talent from the Division 1? It's now its own exotic in the Division 2. The talent is called Bob and Weave. You receive 5% repairs for every 1 meter run in cover to cover. Damage taken while doing a cover to cover is healed over 10 seconds. So this is a fantastic self-healing item and exotic. Basically, if you're in cover and you're getting lit up, you can do a cover to cover. You're going to repair for every 1 meter you run, and you're going to get the full healing dished out over 10 seconds once you complete that action. Nimble was always a lot of fun back in the Division 1. Can't wait to use it again in the Division 2, but this might be the standout right here. They are bringing back ALPHABRIDGE in the form of the Tinkerer exotic mask. The talent is abridged if your primary and secondary weapon are not of exotic or named and of the same type the secondary weapons talent will also be applied to the primary weapon. Okay, so if any of you didn't play Division 1, ALPHABRIDGE was a pretty beloved gear set. What it's doing, let's say you have 2 assault rifles as your 2 weapons, it will take the talent from your secondary. So in this case, let's say you have an AK and a carbine 7, and on the carbine 7 you have strained. You will now get strained on your primary along with whatever the primary's talent is itself. Meaning you could now combine killer and strained. You could do optimist and fast hands. You could do so many different combinations. This is going to be crazy. The Tinkerer is going to open up build customization so much in this game. I'm actually insanely hyped for that. But again, we are not done, and there's still some really good stuff coming. So for the new gear, we have Imminence Armaments as the new brand set. The 1 piece is going to give you 5% weapon damage, a new Walker and Harris piece like there, that's nice. The 2 piece gives you 100% increased threat. This is something they've tried to do with like the Aegis gear set, but to tie this into a brand set bonus is pretty cool. And then the 3 piece is going to be 60% pistol damage. We have 2 new named items. First is the backpack called Captain. The talent is Perfect Leadership. Performing cover to cover grants 20% of your armor as bonus armor to you and all allies for 10 seconds. This is tripled if you end within 10 meters of an enemy. This could definitely be interesting paired with the new Nimble holster. If you want to be like a frontliner kind of, you know, build and player like that within your team. You could even pair this with the new smart cover that we're getting in Battle for Brooklyn. A lot of opportunities there. But then also, I'm really intrigued by these ones. They're new named knee pads called the Cloak, and they come with a perfected attribute of 50% reduced threat. So if you want to be a really big stealth-focused player in PvE, these new named knee pads might be a go-to to get that reduced threat. That's pretty cool. All right, are you ready? This gear set sounds insane. It is called Measured Assembly. The 2-piece gives you 15% skill haste. The 3-piece gives you 60% repair skills. And the talent is called Huddle. So firstly, you receive 1 skill tier for each ally that is within range of your hive. While at tier 6, having at least 1 ally in the range of your hive or smart cover for 4 seconds will grant you overcharge for 15 seconds on a cooldown of 40 seconds. So it's a team-focused ability, right? You need allies within the range of your hive or your smart cover to get those bonuses. And then once you're at tier 6, if someone stays in it for 4 seconds, you get overcharge. You can then obviously do a lot more with your skills. But we're not done. This is the ability that so many people have wanted for so long. Mortars and enemy skills that enter the range of your hive or smart cover will be destroyed/diffused. There is a cooldown on it of 30 seconds, but they say the cooldown is 15% faster for each ally within the range of your hive. We finally have a trophy system in the Division 2, or a way to hack and destroy basically enemy skills. This is going to be big in PvP. 1000%. And I mean, holy shit, guys, we finally got it. So there are obviously 2 amplification talents. On the chest piece, you get the talent called Hive Mind. It decreases the overcharge cooldown from 40 to 25 seconds. And the backpack talent is Smart Cooperation. It decreases the destroy and diffuse cooldown from 30 to 15 seconds. Holy hell. This is going to be so fun. Measured Assembly, cannot wait. Again, we're not done yet. We also have new named weapons and talents. So the new talent is, these are all the perfect version, but Streamline, receive 87% weapon damage when there are no skills on cooldown. This is obviously drawing inspiration from the Barrett's chest exotic back in the Division 1, but 87%? That might have to be adjusted in terms of gameplay. Although I'm realizing right now, is there not going to be a regular version? They only display the perfect version here. I would imagine there would still be a regular version, but maybe the reason why it is so strong is they're just tying it to these 2 weapons, and maybe that is going to, in a sense, bring it more in line. I don't know, but holy shit. The perfect version is going to be available on the Lud, which is a SOCOM M16, and the Purist, which is a converted SMG9A2. Again, maybe the fact that these 2 weapon types are not necessarily the most meta or used is what they're restricting the Streamline's uses to. But again, 87% for the perfect version. Wow. All right, they have known issues down here, but we have one last big change here that I'm sure a lot of people are going to be happy about under quality of life changes, progression, and objectives. Seasonal journey objectives cannot be progressed while playing in co-op. This is huge. A lot of people were dissatisfied with the fact that you couldn't really effectively tackle your journey while playing with your friends, while playing in a group. You can now do it. That's going to be big for a lot of people. All right, and then finally, we have known issues down here. I'm not going to cover every single one. As always, these patch notes will be linked in the description if you want to check them out so you can know what those known issues are heading into the PTS tomorrow. But that is Year 7 Season 1, guys. I hope I'm not being hyperbolic when I say this, but this might be one of the most badass seasons we have coming up for the Division 2. The amount of awesome sounding stuff here from the modifiers, from the exotics, from the stuff that is clearly inspired by the Division 1. This is going to be so much fun. Paired with the launch of Brooklyn, we're in for a really good period of time in the Division 2, guys. I cannot wait. So that is the breakdown, my friends. Tomorrow is the Year 7 Season 1 PTS. Not only do we have that running for the entire weekend, we are also getting a developer stream in the morning. Like I said at the start, my brain is kind of breaking right now. I don't know how I'm going to cover this all, but I highly recommend staying tuned to the channel. Obviously, there's going to be a ton of videos and coverage throughout the weekend. Let me know your thoughts. What is your initial reaction to seeing what is coming in Year 7 Season 1 in terms of the modifiers, in terms of the new gear, exotics, everything? There's a lot coming, folks. I hope you're looking forward to it. That is going to do it for me on this one. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you back soon. RogueGold. Ow.